Well, friends, let me extend a really warm welcome to another auto webinar. And let me introduce myself. Hi, if wherever you are at, tuning on in, my name's James. And I hope maybe I've met you before, but if I haven't, or you're new to auto, a really warm welcome. I hope you're doing well. Now, I am coming from the land of the Wabrickal people up in Newcastle, just north of Sydney, and would like, as we do in all of our webinars, just pay respects to all our elders past and present. Now, thank you so much for joining in one of our auto webinars again. I love doing these things. These are just little nuggets of learning that I hope you get so much out of as we all together explore every possibility of what we can be doing in auto. And so if you are a existing customer in auto, so thankful that you're joining us today. We love that you love these webinars. We'd love some feedback around what you'd love to see in the upcoming months as we do more webinars. But we're really thrilled that you can be diving into these to upskill and learn some core principles and some sort of things on the tools in auto to make you use the platform better. So really warm welcome to you. And if you're new to auto generally, it's great that you can join us. Auto is an insanely good email marketing platform, and also SMS and chat and all sorts of different things you can be doing for your marketing automation. It's a platform that helps you communicate more. And as we kind of say, it helps you see clearer so you can engage deeper. So if this is your first time joining us, as someone who's not on auto yet, a really warm welcome. We're really thrilled that we're trusted by so many amazing non-for-profits around Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. And so we're really thankful that they can be coming into these little spaces in the webinars and be learning alongside with us. So welcome. It's good to have you. Now, we've got a really exciting webinar ahead of us today, and I'm thrilled because I get to welcome in a moment one of my colleagues, and that's going to be great. But my hope really for this webinar is that all of us learn some sort of core principles about how the inbox is working today in 2026. And this, for many of us, may have been a bit of a black box, and I'm really thrilled to welcome in Travis, who's going to help us sort of unlock what's actually in this box. So Travis, welcome. So good to see you.
Thank you. I'm so pumped. This is going to be so good.
100%. Now, I've done a little bit of a blurb of sort of who you are. So feel free to critique me or rip me on later on if I've got it wrong. But a little bit about Travis. Helping marketers understand the nature of email deliverability and what solutions they can apply to make their sends more effective. Now, Trav, can you tell us, what do you do at Auto? Give us a quick introduction.
Yeah, so I manage the deliverability, both email and SMS, for all of our customers. My team, we regularly monitor all the traffic, make sure that anything that's going out is up to speed and on par with expectations in the industry so that everyone has a reliable experience on our platform. And then I get to dive in with different customers as we provide consultation in unique one-to-one situations. And, it's been really fun. It's cross-industry experience, cross-volume experience. I've helped customers that send to 100 to customers that send to 1 million plus a day. So it's really fun. It's always a cool challenge, but yeah, I love it.
And you should love it because we love you doing this. I think email deliverability, as I said before, it's a bit of a black box for many of us. So I'm going to be learning stuff today too, which is going to be great. But we're really thrilled that you can be with us and we can be diving into kind of what I call a bit of a signature webinar, the Inbox 2026. And our hope is we're going to be running these every year to help all of our audience understand a little bit about what's happening with email deliverability in the new year. Now, a little bit about where we're going today. Well, firstly, I'll just introduce you to webinar format. Now, what's exciting is this is not just going to be on webinar format. We're also releasing this on podcast if you want to listen to it or your colleagues would like to listen to it later on. But if you are in a webinar, we're thrilled that you're here, and your advantage is you can ask us questions along the way. So if you are wanting to ask a question, please just use the comment section. Ask us a question. We're going to have some question time throughout the webinar that we can be sort of exploring some more things that you would like to look at as well. But also, all of this goes up online afterwards. So if you can't make the whole webinar today, that's totally fine. We're just so thankful you're with us. We'll make sure you get a recording of this both on video and podcast podcast that you can look at later on as well. Now, where are we going to be going? Well, Trav, I've sort of crunched this in. We've got like 45 minutes. You and I could go forever, but we don't have forever. So I've got a few sort of things we're going to look at. First off, deliverability 101, right? When people hear, what is deliverability? That's what we want to answer there. Yeah. We're going to then look at what are the past and present challenges that we face when it comes to the inbox in 2026. And then we're going to get more practical. How do we actually move the needle? How do we improve what's actually landing in our sends? And then also at the end, I kind of want to look a little bit, explore why auto and dedicated marketing automation platforms, because not all platforms are built alike. And we're going to explore that a little bit too, because we really want to help you have a great unfair advantage because you use auto in this too. And then we'll do some Q&A and then we'll wrap on up. So that's kind of where we're going. Travis, sound 2 thumbs up. I reckon we got this. Yeah, awesome. I've talked a lot. Trav, this is totally your bit to go, because I want to ask you a couple of quick fire questions just to get us warmed up. All right. You ready, Trav?
Let's do it. Yeah.
We got this. Okay. Number 1, what's your favorite emails to receive in your inbox?
Oh, man. Well, obviously, everyone loves a good deal. But honestly, right now, one of my favorite emails that I receive is like a non-promotional email that's actually from there. It's called Dracula Daily. I have a literature background, and Dracula is a book that's uniquely written as a journal, and it has dates. And so this is someone who decided to send those chapters on those dates every year. They go through the whole book and they send it you get to experience Dracula as a journal in email. And it's just like a really cool way how things can transcend time and technology and still have the same sort of human experience. I love it.
I love that too, because that's a really hard book to read. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, number 2, what's your favorite email client to use?
I know it's mainstream, but I am a Gmail, a Google guy. I do use Apple Mail for personal stuff, but Google is they got all the bells and whistles and really give me the control I'm looking for.
They do. I do too. I actually switched over from a new client over to Gmail because it just has some cool things in it and it always works, which is kind of neat. Yeah, dig it. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about clients in a little while. All right. You see more emails than most. So what cringy subject lines do you see? Like what's out there?
I hate the gimmicks. Those are the worst when people are trying to do the fake forward or the fake reply follow up. Especially in promo emails or cold email unsolicited. Those get really annoying. I think though the worst is the ones that we weren't supposed to send you this inside deal that was only for employees, but I guess we'll sell it. We'll give it to you now. That's probably some of the worst.
It's amazing how quickly you read through them. I got one, I think 2 days ago, which started with the subject line was and you're like, I don't know this person. Like, I never replied to. Okay, last one. What's the biggest inbox myth that you'd love to kill in 30 seconds? Like, you must have one.
So many.
You get one.
I get one. Okay. I just said this to someone today. So one of them is that batching sends can help you get into the inbox more likely. So if you have like your big 1 million send that you usually do on one day, if you actually batch and segment all the good ones at first and do it every hour, only in little bits, it's going to get you in the inbox. It does not change your inbox experience. None.
I feel right now everyone's like, oh man, I did that 2 weeks ago, and they're probably all going like, what other myths can you just like debunk right now? Maybe we'll have like a little debunk session if we get time at the very end of it to sort of throw a few more out because you have millions. But thanks for that, and I hope that kind of warms you up to where we're sort of going today, because what we want to do is I want to explore your world. Your world is all about deliverability. And in here, it's like the difference between emailing someone and actually showing up in their world. I've had the privilege of spending a lot of time with you talking about this. But when it comes to deliverability, many may find that a new word. Could you explain what is email deliverability? Why do we call it that? And what's actually behind it in your world? Hit us up.
Oh man, yeah, this is a big deal. I mean, this is probably stumbling block number one for a lot of marketers. So the easiest way is to compare the words delivery and deliverability. When you're talking about email or SMS, this term works the same. So email delivery or SMS delivery is just about the end-to-end technical experience. Does the sender's server contact and be able to hand off the message to the receiver's server? Deliverability includes that because it is a part of the real focus. It's more of a sort of secondary, even though it can completely block the ultimate, which is deliverability focuses on what happens then after it is accepted on the receiving side. Deliverability is basically inbox placement versus spam foldering. If I had to, it's really a made up term, but to really nail this down, if you were to say, what is a deliverability rate? Then I would say that would be the rate of emails that land in your inbox versus spam folder or don't deliver at all. You can't have that. Deliverability rate is not a real organic thing that you can have, and I can explain that if we want to. But that helps you understand that deliverability is more about the nuance. It includes the experience of making sure you can get delivered, but making the nuance of then what happens when the mailbox providers have to judge your email.
And we've talked about in our discussions, the word trust comes up every time I talk to you.
Right.
Like evolve that out for us. Why does the word trust come up when we're talking about deliverability?
Well, it's because at the end of the day, deliverability exists as a security due to security tools. The spam folder is a security tool. And so, there's so much traffic nowadays. We oftentimes, as marketers and senders, we just think about ourselves. And we think about what we feel is normal and that we don't have sort of those, ulterior negative motives to do bad things. But there's actually way more traffic happening that is doing that. And so people forget that they're sending in a context, in an environment. And so at the end of the day, all of the signals come down to, Gmail and Yahoo and all of them figuring out ways to build trust and be able to trust who this person is and what they're saying is safe. And then that's how you get into the inbox. It really is a system of earning trust.
And not to all compare it with SEO because they are not the same thing even close, right? But go with me for a sec, Trav. Most marketers know what SEO is. It probably took a number of years to really get the hammer of it. But if you met a modern marketer these days, like bring up SEO, they're, oh yeah, SEO, super. We know what that is, and we know what the challenges are today, and all of that kind of stuff. Why has deliverability not been as popular to sort of maybe look at then, and why has SEO sort of risen to the ranks when the reality is so much of our communication relies on understanding deliverability really well?
Right. Well, that's because deliverability doesn't really have much reporting stats that help you understand it. Like we've talked about, it's very black box feeling. I think there is, we talked about in our sessions previously where, there's kind of this divide where it's like either think that email is just you hit send and it goes just like a normal one-to-one email does, or you think that it's a huge black box that it's a mystery and you just got to say the magic words. And so it's really hard to like know anything when it comes to deliverability, like organically. Everything is sort of like secondhand when understanding deliverability success. And I think it's just so hard and it's frustrating. And email marketing is an ongoing relationship thing where SEO sometimes can just feel like just do this one thing right once and you can just like kind of stay on top of that and you just follow that and it works perfectly. And so I think it just people gravitate towards that because it feels easier in many ways. But of course it's not. I know SEO is crazy still.
It was like, it seems easy. We're getting destroyed.
I mean, yeah, I think it feels easier in some ways because I see so little like real research going on with
Yeah.
deliverability, but then you see people just like really digging in on SEO. There's just something that feels like a disconnect there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think big time. And I think this is one of the things we're so thrilled that Auto has a deliverability team because you guys see into this black box than most. Most are just going to be looking at what's my open rate, what's my click rate, like how many sends did I do, all of this, which are such superficial layers when you talk to yourself in the deliverability team, where you guys are exploring this black box. I love that you say that, yes, this is not easy. This is sort of magic, not science. But that just means that like our ears need to be more attentive to the likes of you who have understood what this black box is in there a little bit. So
Mhm.
love that you've sort of unpacked that a little bit. And I think over our year, you and I have talked about maybe doing some other stuff on podcasts and sort
Mhm.
of things around there. But I'm hoping that if you haven't been to Travis's LinkedIn yet, please do. Like just make him someone you follow because it will really help you in this magician space of black box email deliverability. But we don't want to sit in the black box. We want to sort of get out of that. We want to look at some things as well. But I do want to bring this up quickly as a bit of a way of introducing where we're going to next.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but Google are releasing, or they already have, they've released a whole bunch of AI features within their Gmail. And Gmail I find really interesting. Trevor, I looked it up today and it looks at like it's about 60% of people are still on Apple, most of all because a lot of people have iPhones. That just makes sense. A lot of people, and next lay down is Gmail every day of the week. Like the two of those are just capitalizing everything. Um, I'd love to to get your thoughts on sort of like Apple's use of AI because that seems to be struggling a fair bit. But Google's killing it with Gemini, and they're bringing all these really cool features in there. One of those is one that we talked about the other day, which is the AI inbox, which isn't released in Australia or New Zealand yet, but is out for trial in the US. And this is what you get served up. So it's an interesting pick where it's moving away, like AI is serving up what emails that you're looking at. And I hope that this, and we can maybe explore this a little bit, but I want to look at what were the challenges of the past and what are the new challenges like that we're seeing in the present. So, Trev, talk us through this. Like, the emails are not new to you. You look at these every year.
Mhm.
What's been the challenges commonly in the past, but what are the new challenges that we're seeing in 2026 that we really need to be mindful of?
Yeah, so thankfully, so in the past, if you thought that deliverability was very black box now, it was way worse years ago. A lot of the mailbox providers like Google and Yahoo and them, they didn't even have like clear stances on what they even required for bulk mail. Like you had to know someone who has been in the industry and then they teach you and it's literally just like handed off from mentor to mentee, um, or just guesswork. And so,
Mhm.
in the past, like most people really leaned on this idea of like of blacklists and block lists, especially for IPs. They were worried about spam words. These things are very like one accidental thing and you're done kind of feeling things. And so the
Mhm.
struggle was just trying to do that in sort of really blind situations and
Mhm.
to do your best work. But there was also a lot of sort of lenience too that I think people didn't realize at the time, and you're kind of seeing that more now. We've really transitioned into sort of a more transparent era. Google and Yahoo have made very clear statements. They have them on their website. Microsoft followed suit. They all are sharing because what's funny is that for people like myself in the industry, these rules have been the things we've been saying for years. We knew that these were the things that they wanted. Now they've just made them official. And so, the thing is that the best practices that they require oftentimes go against what is natural for a business that is trying to get more business through their
Yeah.
emails.
Yeah.
And so that is the challenge of the past that is still being carried over. Now, though, that things that you used to get away with, you just don't anymore. And I honestly see that as a win because What I am seeing in my experience is that
Yep.
as people follow deliverability best practices, it actually makes them better marketers. Um,
Mm,
the
yep.
things that the deliverability tools are looking for and rating you on, they're not superficial things anymore. They're deeper. They're using machine learning. They're using AI, and these things are building everything around how their users engage with your traffic. And
Mm,
that's the biggest signal that you need as a marketer to work towards, is getting
yep.
strong engagement. And so what we're seeing even with this AI inbox is that at first it can be like a fear-inducing thing, but it's pushing marketers to create genuine connections rather than just relying on spamming people essentially. So
And that seems to be somewhat like it's. I love that you mentioned like transparency, and because it shows you that like it's not anyone's real massive fault that we haven't been able to see behind what email deliverability is, and kind of been taken by I guess this works and sort of out there trends.
yeah,
I am curious on whether more things actually need to be. I love that you said it used to like be passed down to like Padawan to Padawan.
yeah,
Maybe more things do need that. I think it's a I think that may be a bit of a lost art of sharing knowledge. I'm still a fan of that.
yeah,
But if transparency is now going, hang on, like we can see the rules that Google are applying, that Yahoo are applying as to why something lands in promotions, why something lands in your social, why something lands in your spam, why it lands in your primary or wherever it is. That is enormously helps. And so I hope that if you're listening, if you're watching today, like that's what a fun space to be in. But you've also said that when it's going back to best practice, which a lot of people have known about, talk me through that a little bit more. Like when we say they've known what best practice is and adding value and wanting to be in the inbox, um, expand that a little bit more, but I'd love you to particularly help us understand what that does look like in the AI space, because the AI space is doing some really interesting things, such as changing subject lines, only serving you up what it thinks that you want.
mhm,
So like that is terrifying. Like
yeah,
straight off the bat, that's terrifying for anyone going out with a tax appeal.
yeah.
But why is it not so terrifying from your perspective of knowing what sort of best practice has been?
No, so to me, so I come at this with excitement because I personally hate, untargeted, unfocused marketing emails.
Mm,
And
yep.
so these best practices are things like requirements on types of opt-ins that are required, making sure you have consent. It's
Mm,
talking about clearly delineating content types, especially when we're talking about the new one-click unsubscribe links that Google say is elevating at the top, or using
mm,
in their preference center. Google actually has a preference center now that you can go to as a user, and you can see all your marketing emails, and you can unsubscribe one click through all of them if you
like,
want to.
yeah.
And so the these efforts are like are separating content types by some element of sender address or information,
Mm,
um, and focusing on segmenting your lists to prioritize certain content to certain people, especially in a way of personalization. We've been talking about
mm, mm,
personalization for
mm.
years, but Google is forcing us to get past the sort of placating personalization we've all done as marketers, which is just use the first name.
Hi, Travis. Yeah, I got one the other day that it was actually a friend of mine with an agency, and it said "hi name," and I'm like,
Oh,
I love this so much.
right. And we can
Uh,
debate all day. Does personalization, change things? Does an emoji change the engagement rates? But at the end
yeah,
of the day, this is all about, will the users continuously engage? It's not
yeah,
just about one engagement. You have to earn engagement consistently. So, and even those best practices that they're requiring are still really low level. They're not going to truly, inform your marketing strategy, because at the end of the day, your marketing strategy should be about meeting people where they are and giving them what they want and what they need. And so that's really the movement that we're seeing with these, advice, best practices and stuff.
Yeah, and that's huge, particularly when you look at the things like the shortcuts. One of the things I do love is that so many of these platforms are there trying to make it easy for people to manage life, to manage
Yeah.
comms, and all of that. Um, and like even as understanding, like I can now with one click get rid of all my marketing email. I unsubscribe. Like I can now do similar things now with like my paid subscriptions on different things. That stuff's trying to take weights off my life, so I don't
Yeah.
have to be thinking about this thing. That's a really good thing, and something I think personally we advocate. But it's interesting when as soon as you put the shoes on, it's like I'm now a marketer. I'm now the one that is trying to send you stuff and trying to hope like that is. I mean, maybe the encouragement is don't lose sight that actually this is a good thing that they're moving toward because it is making people's lives a little bit easier.
Yeah.
One of the things I was sort of toying around maybe with a takeaway, if you could maybe expand for us, but in an AI filtered inbox, poor engagement doesn't just underperform, it trains the system to hide you.
Yeah.
What may be the consequences some people have that if you don't actually move toward this with intentionality, and you ignore it? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, from day one, as I started to see all the summaries, even before AI, Google created the AI inbox, which is almost like a completely different view that hides your entire inbox. So when I was seeing that, I immediately knew that this was a big problem because, we talk about opens not being a reliable rate. So a lot of people try to say, like, don't use that. But opens are like the foundational signal that Google still uses and that Yahoo, they all still use that regardless of how inflated they appear to us.
Yep.
And these summaries are going to get in the way of that. And so it's going to force marketing strategies that both placate to that so that they're properly summarized and properly represented, but also have earned a history of relationship that that has earned consistent engagement, not only as a signal to Google, but also because you need to get your recipients through that AI inbox summary into your email each time or as often as possible. Because without that signal, eventually you'll stop showing up in the AI summary, then you'll eventually stop showing up in the inbox.
Yeah, right. There's a lot to get into, but why don't we look at some practical? I'm keen to come back to one of the thoughts that in discussions we've had before is kind of like what are the rules that Google at Yahoo are actually playing in regards to whether how you build that brand trust in someone's inbox. Love to explore that a little bit, and we might be able to like sort of do that in the next section. But like we want to work out how we can move the needle. Like there's some we want people to be like, no, there's some things that you can do as a good marketer. It's all about learning new skills every year. And I love this to be one of the skills that so many of you guys out there adopt and learn about. But why don't we chat about this? Let's get like nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I've listed out a few things that like have come up in so many of our conversations, which is like, what about your brand? Like how are you turning up in a consistent manner? Email preferences, you already mentioned that. Design, curious on that of like whether you get there or not. I'm like, that's one I want to explore a little bit more. Better segmentation and your IT team. Like
lots to cover.
Maybe we start with what are Google, Yahoo, the likes looking for? And what are the things that people can be doing to really elevate and make it best chances that their emails are seen and engaged with?
Right. So starting with, foundation number one is you got to have your sending domain authenticated, and your sending domain really needs to align with your company's domain in some way. It's becoming best practices actually to send from a subdomain. So that would be, say, like marketing.ordo.com. You don't have to, but as your company has different sort of arms and legs and different channels, if you're all using the same root level domain, that reputation comes together and affects everything at the same time. And if you do subdomains like marketing versus sales versus support, you can have a barrier that slows down. They can still share reputation, but it does slow down that. If, say, someone like sales decides to get a little spammy and they hurt the reputation, then you're good. But the key is that you're going to want to build it off of the company's domain in some way, because you also want that transparency with your subscribers of keeping them, recognizing your brand, recognizing your website, where they're trying to get to, who they're trying to listen to.
And pause on that one. Like if domains, subdomains, authentication, just like zoom over your head as you are listening to this, don't worry, everyone's been there at some point in their life of going like, what is going on? The auto team is there to help you understand much of this, but maybe as a practical example, Travis, like one of the things that's come up a lot is within a non-for-profit, you may have like the marketing team and they've got their brand recognition, their core emails going out for different things. But then you may be a fundraising team and the volumes could be very, very different.
Yeah.
If you are not using maybe a separate subdomain such as marketing.charity.com and fundraise.charity.com, you're saying that it all just gets pulled into one, and that maybe long-term down the track isn't actually building the trust that you want to see.
Yeah, you have to be careful to a degree, because you can over separate to the point that it becomes really hard to build reputation. For instance, if fundraiser only sends one time a year for some reason, or you need at least monthly traffic. So if they're not sending monthly, there does need to be a degree of sharing that is good.
My assumption is the fundraiser is sending a lot.
I would expect so. Yeah. So it can get overly complicated. I like to say, stay simple. Keep it focus on doing the initial best practice, and then review growing that once you're comfortable with it. So if you're not even used to a subdomain, maybe just try one subdomain for all of your sort of promotional or nurturing marketing focused traffic, and then you can look at separating them from there.
Love it. All right, authentication next.
So
or domain authentication.
Right. So domain authentication, I'm going to keep this from going over your heads. All right, I'm just going to keep it simple, because you can work with your IT team to resolve this. But domain authentication is simply having some very specific details added to your domain from whatever platform that you use, that is globally available and allows providers like Google and Yahoo to check that publicly available record on your domain to prove that you're valid, because you're using third-party tools. When you use Ordo, you're using our IPs or traffic from our servers and things. And so how are they going to know that it's you? Because anybody could come on and say they're you, but we provide the extra details that your team can add to your domain. And that's important, because that is the foundation that Google and Yahoo and them use to build your reputation. If you don't have authentication, you have no reputation control with your domain. So
love it. All right, put that down. If that is something you're like, I'm not sure we have that, write that down where that'll help you do that. So that's number one. Cool. What's number two?
For authentication?
No. So like, as we're looking through like what Google, Yahoo are looking at as things that build that trust. Come on, Trav, keep it with us, man. You've got this. Oh, I don't even know what time it is over in your land at the moment. It's later than mine, I know.
Yeah, it's like 6:30. So that and my ADHD, they're just not working for you here.
All right, next one.
So they start with authentication and validation there, and then they build reputation based off of these sort of aggregate engagements of subscribers. So these are they opening your emails or not opening your emails? Those are huge to them. And then, of course, bigger of course is if they're seeing high levels of complaints. If you're a marketer sending to opted in, you should not be seeing those high level of complaints. That should be less of a worry. That's a huge negative signal. But the one that I see most overlooked is the lack of opens. Now, a subscriber doesn't have to open every single email you send to them, but they need to be opening regularly, at least one ever so often. And if the proportion of your audience is not engaging regularly, than engaging. That's one of the biggest signals, especially Google uses to identify whether you should be in the inbox or not.
Yeah. And within that, I think you mentioned two things. One, your email preferences are going to be playing a huge part on that. If they're receiving things that they said, I don't want to receive this,
Right.
that's only going to harm you as well. And also, probably brand comes into that. Like I think all the things we put there, like segmentation comes into that as well. Expand out maybe one or two of those for us in regards to what people can be doing to aid this.
Yeah, I honestly, it's funny. I take for granted the idea of getting permission so often because I just expect it as like a default, and I have to remember to bring that back to real world because not everyone is got the training and stuff. And so, really, how you start can affect so much. So when you're getting permission, you want to make sure that you're being very clear on what your content you're sending to them, what frequency, things like that. You want to be very clear on what they're consenting to. The more clear and transparent you are, the less likely you're going to get, apathetic, let alone spam complainers. And it's very easy when people use things like white paper gates if you want this white paper, you have to give us your email address, and then taking that and putting that into your normal marketing traffic. That is a great way to earn high unsubscribes, high spam complaints, and low engagements because you weren't clear. They don't feel like they actually consented to receive that. And they don't want that. They haven't showed you zero signals that they actually want that. They've only shown you signals they want that white paper, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because don't hide, like it comes back to something you said earlier. Don't hide authenticity from them. Like you've got to rock up and be a human in this space.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the other side of it, what would your reaction be? And I think the amount of playbooks that you see out there that are lead gen that don't have any form of opt-in.
That's true.
On there. So I think aligning that, and I think it's one of the features I love most in Auto is that you can get so detailed down into your preference center. There've been some new updates onto the preference center in Auto if you haven't checked it out, but making sure that those in Auto are aligning and integrating well if you have Salesforce and you manage the preference center in Salesforce, making sure that is integrated really well into Auto's preference center so they're working together. I think it's so important. Talk to me a little bit about segmentation. Like, yes, AI is helping us get a lot of efficiencies, which means we can probably write some more emails or sort of variant emails around there. That's kind of cool. But it still comes up as one of the core elements of just good basic engagement. Right. From your perspective, what is good segmentation?
Well, it really feeds what we were just talking about. If you start off with a really strong, clear content consent form that is channeling in top of funnel, getting your subscribers in. If you build a network of that to really bulk out many different content types, many different opt-in sources so that you have a nice preference center, that gives you so much. Everyone wants to ask for a survey or feedback where you give questions, they give answers. And you get more personal data that you can basically not know what to do with, other than to try to elevate it in the content like we do with first name.
Yeah.
But personalization and better segmentation, hyper segmentation, whatever you want to call it, is more about using easy activities that you track and that you see with your subscribers based off of, did they opt into this form versus that form? Did they ask for this content versus that content? That gives you the ability to segment, gives you the ability to build content that feels personalized, even though it uses not a single dynamic block. It doesn't use a single personalization tag. You don't even have to do that to provide that, just with that better segmentation.
Yeah, so start segmentation as your start of personalization. I think that's a lot of people think, no, my personalization starts when I'm in email content. I'm no, it starts on your segmentation and what activities that they've I just don't think people realize that you can have a preference center with more than one or two options, which is get our newsletter or regular updates. So, so, but you can have one. Oh, you want to hear our impact stories.
Right.
That's what you want to hear. Great. You can even break that down if you wanted to, if you've got different categories of impact stories. But that's a start point where you can understand who are you, what do you want, and then on top of that, you're putting in all the interactions and activities that they're doing on your website, which can all get coolly, like super cool, tracked in auto, which you can understand those. So there's some really fun things in there as well. Talk to me a little bit about I've been playing with this one, which is like, particularly with the AI stuff coming in, and so many things that it feels like we're going a little bit more old school. I feel like I'm in like Commodore 64 days where like I'm typing and coding something. That's what I feel like the prompt is for AI. Like everything's going back to like text-based stuff, or like an SMS you used to make on a Nokia. It's having interesting effects on design, and the level of design you maybe put in your emails, but it also does change how we think about brand and sort of get back to sort of core communication and how your brand is turning up in text consistently. Can you explore like any random things that pop in your head when it comes to sort of brand and design when we're looking at stuff?
Yeah, I mean, from a deliverability standpoint, when the machines are looking at your email content and trying to make decisions, their biggest concerns really most of the time are whether the links are dangerous. People want to talk about plain text versus HTML emails and the engagement rates that they get. Honestly, I've seen image only email people get into the inbox and get high engagements, and I've seen play text only get the same experience, and then I've seen the reverse for both as well. And so when it comes down to the design elements in your deliverability, the biggest thing is what feeds that engagement and that relationship. Yes, creating really creative content and design, it's fun. We all want to do that. That's what we want to focus on. But it doesn't really matter if it doesn't feed the core message and the core brand message. It's all about creating familiarity, creating consistency, letting them know what to expect, and they know they can expect it, and then they can consume what they need to consume easily and get straight to the meat.
Yeah, I think that's why people, like, when you ask someone what's your favorite emails, often what will come back is it's consistent. Even the example you gave of Dracula, I know what I'm getting every time I see that email. And that consistency is actually really good. It means that you don't have to be like pulling your hair out to go, what's the brand new idea that I have to come up with, or the brand new designs. No, you can rock up the same authentic self every time, as long as they opted in for that authentic self within your emails as well. I put in this like maybe a takeaway that inbox performance improves when brand trust, preference control, and relevance are designed together.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. That's fantastic.
Yeah, man, we'll put it up on your LinkedIn this afternoon, all right? And you can claim it was yours. That's all good. But like, but I think that in our chats, that's what I get from you and your team, is that it's not about just doing one thing. Well, it's how all these things sort of work together, and it's designed in there, which is kind of why I want to go into. I'd like you to get your nerd on, right? If you can do it, Trav, go nuts, like as much as you like.
Right.
But one of the things we had this really interesting discussion the other day about many people that like non-for-profits are bombarded with apps and platforms and all of this. And I've run on a big philosophy for a few years of find the best tool to do the thing you need it to do. And that kind of means that like you'll meet platforms that kind of put everything into it. And normally you'll find one thing that's really good and a number of things that are okay, and then a few things that are awful. Because I just don't think you can put everything into just one thing and go out with that. And that's why I love auto. Like it does marketing automation really, really, really well, because that's its niche. It doesn't try to be your CRM. It doesn't try to be another platform to do all. It is trying to do that really, really well. But when we're bombarded with other arenas where other products say we do everything, I want to explore why having a dedicated tool is essential to growth and taking this actually seriously. And totally, I'll unashamedly say this is a total pitch for Auto, because I love the product. Talk to our customers, they love the product. Talk to people who've used it in agencies, they think it's insanely good compared to what's out there. Right. So I'm happily, shamelessly pushing Auto. But to do this, Trav, a little bit different. I'm just going to give you little snippets that I've written down, and I'd love you just to comment on them from that perspective. So first off, in shared systems, your reputation is partly influenced by other organizations, whereas in Auto, reputation is something that's actively protected. Explain.
Yeah. So in Auto, so a lot of those other platforms, I'll just start with that, they are trying to do too much all at once, right? And oftentimes there's not necessarily the allocation necessarily. They're trying to give you the minimum of what they expect you need. And oftentimes that means just being, on a very shared network, as they rely upon other platforms to do their email infrastructure and things like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Auto, there are multiple reasons. There are the tools, of course. We provide, custom domain availability where we allow you to do full domain alignment. A lot of those other platforms are not going to let you do literally everything from the sender domain down to the actual links that are used to redirect and track clicks. Most platforms don't even have that. And so we give you that full reputation control from that angle. And then from the IP reputation angle, we offer dedicated IPs to those that can do it. But, there's a lot of senders that can't. So we also do offer a shared system. The difference, though, is that a lot of times those platforms, they don't have someone that's dedicated and has the experience like we do it at Auto. Me and my team, we have collectively over 20 years of email sending platform experience, where it is literally only my job and my team's job to make sure that deliverability experience, even in the shared environments, is strong. And we are the ones proactively managing that kind of stuff. And so that you just don't get that with the all-in-ones, for sure.
Hence my quest to elevate what you guys are doing by in the black box to as much content as possible for you guys to access. All right. Auto helps you decide who not to email just as much as who to email.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
That is huge. That is huge. I mean, most of the time, that's the problem, is that people are just having to be blanket sent to with these platforms. They give you a few templates and then they say all or nothing kind of, or literally this scenario only you can be triggered. With Auto, it gives you not only the ability to segment, based off of engagement, email engagement, but you can segment off of activity in their account, activity off of they're browsing your website and seeing your blogs and stuff like that. They allow you to know who needs this pitch versus that pitch very, very easily, and who to not send to and not waste your reputation on, because reputation is currency when it comes to the email environment. And you need to know who you're not sending to with every email. That is a must if you're going to have strong reputation and retain that currency as you spend it.
Yeah. I love it. No, just as much who you're not sending to as who you are sending to.
Right.
Yeah, this is great. All right. Trust compounds slowly, but distrust accelerates quickly. Oh, man. I feel this is like the slogan of 2026 and people need to absorb. Elaborate. Thoughts, Trav?
Well, in just email alone, I think go on there's so many other areas that's applicable to, but yeah, like I said, the signals are all weighted differently. An open is a positive and a not open is a negative, but a spam complaint is a huge negative versus a non-open. There's not really necessarily a version of complaint on the positive side of the scale. A lot of people don't know that a reply is a very strong positive signal, and a reply to an email, which is another reason not to use a no reply with your marketing campaigns. But a reply is stronger than an open for sure, but it's nowhere near as strong as spam complaints are. And that just shows you how weighted the system is to just, it's ready to let you slide if you start to go that way. That's for sure.
That's gold. It's maybe that's I was thinking that's our social post that goes up on this at the end. It's ready to let you slide.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt them. They're like, well, bye. You know, I don't have to keep up with this email in the inbox for a million people.
Yeah, so good. All right, I think I got one more. Auto gives you far better visibility into whether you're building or eroding trust.
Yes. So, even so, I came from just a very, very basic email sending platform before at Ordo, and I could see the problems even then. Though the legacy email sending platforms, they were very basically built, and their reports are always static and very limited, and whatever segmentation tends to be really hobnobbed and really hard to customize. But when I was introduced to Ordo before coming on, I just saw so many of those doorways open with the flexibility of the reporting. You can build the visibility that you want. You can build your own stats. I mean, I even have the capabilities of building report and dashboard templates for our customers to use. When I work with a customer and I discover a new way that they like to look at, and I'm like, you know what? This actually does help customers. I literally that day can build a report, and my engineers have built it so that I can make that a public template within 24 hours. And so that's just the magic of Ordo. It's flexible. It honors and is built upon the foundation of experts like myself building the actual templates we're using. So.
Yeah. All right. So there's our Ordo pitch for you. If you are new to Ordo, you haven't checked it out, I promise you it'll be an absolute game changer to give you the power that you do need behind your email deliverability. And so hit us up for a trial and our team will take you through. And if any of this kind of stuff is like, I don't know where to start and what's this looking, it's Ordo's job there to help you do this as well. So we're going to be providing more playbooks and how-tos and enablement content and things to show you how to do much of this. And so you're feeling like we're partnering with you in this, which is really exciting. I'm looking forward to sort of producing much of that content as well, which would be great. All right. Takeaway, look to bring your organization's marketing and fundraising, email deliverability, or email delivery all into Auto. If at the moment your teams have different solutions for this, maybe consider bringing them together and that you can do that. And as I said before, if it's our hard job to train you and help you sort of do this and make that as smooth and seamless as possible, even if it is, as Travis was saying, that we're going to be developing more templates for reporting that you can use out of the box or more journeys and things like that. Like, we would love to be diving into a lot of that as well. All right. Now, Trav, we have some questions, which is great. And I think they're just going to pop up on the screen. And so, Trav, just hit these out. Let's see where are we at? 11:54, 6 minutes. So, right. Trav, give these quick, and we'll follow these up in email as well. So, thank you so much for those who did post a question. But Tom, interested to hear thoughts on BIMI implementation.
Yes. So BIMI implementation, BIMI is where your logo gets to show up in the mailboxes next to your emails, for those who don't know. It takes a little bit of technical requirement, but what I would say is it aligns with that brand, like trust and building brand recognizability. I highly suggest it, but test it out first. Let's start with Apple Mail first. If you're seeing that there's a Apple Mail representation, do that. It's the cheapest and it's pretty much the quickest, I think, to go ahead and implement. And if that works, then you can look at doing it for a lot of the other providers as well.
I did this the other day. It really does not take long.
Right.
So totally recommend you looking at this. And as Travis said, that's where your logo appears right in the little sort of circle preview a little bit in his emails that's coming through all of those. Check it out. All right. Thanks for that, Tom. Leonie had a question. Is there a possibility to have too many preferences? What limit would you recommend have seen in the non-for-profit industry?
Yeah, I would. So I would highly suggest, identifying, like as I always say, start simple and then build out from there based off of how you are getting sort of the engagement feedback there. I like to advise looking at maybe two or three content preferences, and then
Mhm.
maybe look at building out a frequency preference. Frequency preference is super underutilized, and it can really save you so many unsubscribes, especially in the
Mm,
non-for-profit. Sometimes
mm.
people are hurting and they just can't handle maybe another sad story, which will oftentimes, non-profit are communicating about. And that's totally valid. So that's one of those things that can save you subscribers too. So that's where I'd start. And then, just kind of go from there. What feels organic and feels not too much. Yeah.
Great. I love that. Leonie, thanks for that question. And we're going to be putting some more enablement content around preferences. And I'd love to see you guys contributing to that conversation as well. So you can always email me or let our support team know some of your thoughts. Now, Sarah has a question to finish up. Are you able to talk about the impact of a high number of hard bounces? Thoughts?
Yes. So hard bounces are probably the most negative and reputation impacting, as far as the bounces go. Soft bounces tend to not be necessarily as problematic. If you're not familiar, a hard bounce simply is basically a disabled mailbox or a non-existent mailbox, whereas a soft bounce tends to be there's a temporary issue with delivery. You can try again later. With hard bounces, too many of those, they can look like someone who has either purchased or scraped a list off the internet, that is spamming people unsolicited. And so
Mm.
when you have a high percentage of those, it becomes a problem. I like the best practices is to keep your bounces below 5%. Keeping your hard bounces definitely below 5%. If your hard bounces get up to 10%, you're having a very serious problem, and reputation problems will follow.
Super. Sarah, thanks for asking that. And reach out to our support team if you've got any more sort of questions around that. Because that's a really, really helpful one. I think something that people go, what do I do in that case? And what's that's happening. And as Travis said, though, one of the things we recommend is look at tools like Auto that can help around that kind of stuff. And we can be diagnosing some of that stuff as well.
Mhm.
Final question. All right. And I love this question. Hey, guys, one of the things you talked about for best practice was making genuine connections with your audience. Could you share some of the most unique, fun ways that a non for profit has been able to show up in their world in an inbox? Now, Travis, like maybe we can take this from two ends because you see a lot of commercial stuff go out.
Yeah.
I see a lot of non-for-profit stuff go out. So can you tell me what's the fun way that you've seen commercials, sort of some of the interesting ways that they've come up with? And I can maybe share one or two of the non-for-profit ones.
Yeah, I really love the nurture automations where they provide value to their customers based off of interests that they know that they have. So a brand that provides a certain type of product, like an outdoors brand, like when customers are buying certain type of things or there's certain types of seasons going on. I really love when they put the promotion aside and they just start providing real world helpful information. These are the 5 things most people overlook when they're camping in, the Pacific Northwest or things like that. Those things really, they get such good engagement, and they're a breath of fresh air to everyone involved, because they show that you care and they show that you align with what they value. And so that's what I love that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really like that. It'd be good interpreting it into the non-for-profit space. Probably one of the ones that I really love seeing in non-for-profit is how to tell story very, very quickly. Often what we see in the non-for-profit space is a lot of text space to read stories. And some of the things I've loved seeing creatively used is ways to show in the email how to access a video really, really quickly. That can just be someone authentically talking about the impact that you're having. I think a lot of people rather than ask, they just want to see the impact that you do. And then from that, generally, you are banking on the fact that they'll then respond on that. So I really love ones that utilize sort of like what looks like a video in there or something that you can be playing with and are using imagery around that is going to link them out to see impact stories. Partly because I like it, because often people will consume more than one if you do it that way, because they'll land somewhere that they have a few other options and stories that can really immerse them. So that's my favorite one. And the other ones I really like is the ones that rock up in the rhythms of what people expect. Like it's just working out when people just know you're going to send them an email.
Yeah.
And then just making that email really good and it's really helpful for them. They're already expecting it. And so you've already got a soft audience for yourself. Just make the email really, really, really good. And I think often Christmas time's good, particularly in Australia, on the giving campaigns that come out of that. Tax time in Australia, people know you're going to ask, but rocking up in a really unique way, that's just knowing behind that they're waiting for the email that's going to come on through, I think is kind of helpful. But we'll explore some more, and maybe we can sort of put some stuff in our fundraisers playbook as well, which is coming out very, very soon. All right, Trav, we're going over time, but that's all right. If you're still with us, hang on there 2 seconds. I'm just going to fly through some quick things, and then I'm going to say goodbye to Trav. First off, if you haven't checked out Auto before, please check it out. Auto.com, ORTTO.com. Check it out. Free trial, 7-day free trial for those who want to be looking at what Auto is. And we also apply a 20% discount for all non-for-profits. And so do be checking that out as well. Some amazing new features coming out. We've got MS Teams Shape, which is coming, which means that you're going to be able to get MS Teams notifications through Auto. That's going to be a game changer for many people. Humanitics, dynamic webhooks, which is insane. A little bit techie, but insanely powerful, which will allow you to integrate with so many other platforms easily. Fundraising platform, that is down the track as well, coming out soon. And there's many, many more. So please be checking out maybe the emails that we send you or the in-app notifications in Auto to see what's coming out and what has been released. Account-based journeys is now up and running. It's been out, it's been tested, and it's really going well. So if you do a lot of things in sort of community partnerships and things like that within your non-for-profit, account-based journeys can be a really, really great mechanism to be using there as well. And Auto is heading to FIA conference, which is really exciting. I can't wait to rock up there with a bunch of our team and engaging with marketers and fundraisers and the likes at FIA down in Melbourne this year. So if you're heading along to FIA this year, we would love to know. We'd love to reach out. We'd love to introduce you to us. Just head to hello.auto.com/FIA-2026. And we'll put that in the email with this content as well. If you're heading to FIA, we'd love to know that you're going there as well. We've got some amazing things happening at FIA too. If you're not going to FIA, let us know what you are going to, because we're doing in-person workshop events throughout this year as well. So do respond to that. And our next webinar I think it's like 4 weeks' time, we're going to be looking at nurturing through connections. We're going to be looking at how your data sources can all come together to provide you a much closer unified view of your supporter. And then from that, you can have emails that are insanely engaging. So we're really looking forward to having that and all of our nurturing your connections through the data that you have. That is really going to be sort of data heavy. I think it's really relevant for what you guys will be looking at, and looking at the different data sources that you can be applying in Auto to really help your non-for-profit grow. And so that's going to be a really exciting one coming out very, very soon. And Travis, just let me say thank you. I get to spend freely time with you whenever I need you, but everyone on our webinar today may not. So quickly just tell us, if they want to know a little bit more about stuff that you do, where could they possibly go?
Yeah, so you can, I think we include the link for my LinkedIn in the email as well. You can find me on LinkedIn, just look up Travis Hazelwood. You can look up Travis at Ordo. You'll find me eventually if you Google that. Also at ordo.com, we have our Pulse blog, and I write almost monthly. Every other month I try to contribute, where we're expanding on best practices, getting into more niche topics and stuff. So if you want to read more things from me on very specific topics, you can go there as well.
Love it. Travis, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for diving into the black box with us and giving us your brain for a little bit. I'm looking forward to when we do our next podcast, probably sooner than later. Yeah. But until then, mate, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day today.
Thanks. See you, James.
See you, mate. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If this was your first webinar with Auto, thanks for joining us. All of this recording will be up and available for you on podcast, on Spotify, and also on video content. Just check your email that we'll be sending off to you, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. See ya.